The 2024 draft didn't feature a truly special generational prospect, but that is going to change for 2025 because Cooper Flagg is here. He is truly a special prospect, but I feel like people aren't kind of comprehending how good he is, and this is going to be a long one, but I'm hoping to make the case for Cooper Flagg as a true generational type prospect. That bill really starts on the defensive end for him. So, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. This is going to be a long one, so stay tuned in. But the first time I really keyed into Cooper Flagg as a special prospect was maybe 2021, this FIBA U17 World Cup final, where Cooper Flagg was 15 in this game, playing blossoming, where Flagg at 6'9", 6'10", with a 7-foot plus wingspan has the instincts and speed to rotate down and block. Flagg would only expand on his defensive monstrousness in the next couple years. So we're going to try to break down what makes his defense really, really special. And he's just an all-around game wrecker. Few players have their hands and their prints on defense as much as Flagg does. Starting this possession, guarding the ball, blowing up this action around screen. He's one of the better 6'9" screen navigators I've ever watched. He has uncanny fluidity and agility for these kind of plays. And Flagg is a monstrous help nail defender, but the rim protection is truly special, and he can access that shot blocking from anywhere on the court because of his mobility. Here we see Flagg just kind of sinking down, blocking this pull-up at the nail with his offhand. And Flagg, most of these defensive clips are going to be from his senior year at Montverde, but he was also absurdly dominant his final AAU season, where Flagg never played 17Us because he reclassed up, but he in the 16U, which was playing his own age group, by the way, truly one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen, where Flagg is going to show here and just destroy these shots right here. I think it's a catch block, yeah. Where Cooper has the discipline to initially stay down before flipping his hips, shutting down that, and just snatching that ball out of midair. He is one of the easiest vertical athletes I can remember watching. Does not need to bend his knees, and his ball tracking is really special as Flagg reads that this ball handler is going to go reverse and just sets up on the weak side of the rim, doesn't waste time trying to go to the strong side. And Cooper is such a monster, like I said. Lurking around the nail, I think, is going to be his most prominent defensive kind of spot because he has access to the entirety of the floor and he has these instincts and reaction times to rotate down and block shots. This is very like Tatum, Jonathan Isaac, Jaden McDaniels-esque, sinking in at the nail, providing help one pass away. And when he realizes that this defender is getting beat, he just sinks down, blocks this shot. You can see how easy he gets up again. Flagg's quick twitch speed doesn't take him any time to accelerate from his lateral stance, and look how high he gets. Like, he is truly, truly an absurd vertical athlete. I think we're kind of showing that, or attempting to show that throughout these clips, is he can jump. The guy can get up. And he really is just going to cover so much space and ground. I value ground coverage so much in a modern NBA predicated on this pace and space and high volume passing and stuff. And Flagg here, digging at the nail, but still has this speed to... A lot of players would just be kind of dead in the water here, but Flagg has the speed to not only recover, but block that jumper. Another big rotation here, as you can just see how high Cooper gets on these plays. He takes full advantage of a lot of high school players who aren't great passers. And you can just see how enormous he gets. As Flagg kind of gets muscled back here by another top prospect in Tyron Stokes. But I love how he's able to absorb this contact. And this is kind of a trait that all great, quote-unquote, like skinnier guys... I don't think Flagg is outlier skinny for his age or anything like that. But he's not as well built relative to competition as a guy like Stokes. But Flagg, instead of just getting blown backwards, as Stokes is super flexible, he's in a position to generate power, Cooper can kind of almost pull the cherish type of play back off and then explode from a back pedal. It is really hard. Like, I love to do the thing where I say, go outside and try this. But seriously, go outside and try this. Just like take a couple steps backwards and then jump as high as you can. It's really not an easy thing to do, and Cooper makes it look that way. His change of direction is so phenomenal, guarding in space. And this is an important thing to be able to close out, because if you're going to be a great help defender, you have to be a great recovery defender. And Flagg has the foot speed and the size and the instincts. That's VJ Edgecombe, another top prospect. And I want you to notice how often Flagg is doing this against some of the best players in high school basketball. Here he's locking up AJ DeBansa, who is currently ranked as the top player in the high school class of 2025. And Cooper's lateral mobility and size, like, he's not the most incredible on-ball defender in the world. He's definitely a better off-ball defender than he is on. I think that mostly says something about his special off-ball defense, but look at Flagg sliding his feet here, bumping with his strong upper body, contesting really hard into a miss. And throughout their matchups with Prolific Prep, he gave DeBansa hell. Like, AJ couldn't do anything against him, and it was so impressive to see Cooper lock up maybe the best isolation 1v1 scorer in the country on multiple occasions. Here against La Lumiere, Cooper is going to close out hard to Darius Adams, another top prospect in the class of 2025, really quick guard. And this ability to close out and recover is just adding on to the special sauce. It's not only its ability to rotate and block shots, but you can't punish Cooper for it, because he'll show the high foot, which is usually not good, flip his hips, sprint with Adams, and explode to block this shot and pin it off the glass. And Cooper is really good at blocking shots and keeping them in bounds too. He's an excellent jump shot blocker. Here he is against Boogie Flans, one of the best guards in all of high school basketball, and we see the change of direction ability again as Cooper opens up his hips to kind of chase Flan into the paint with this excellent burst, but instantly stops on a dime and has the length to offer a pretty good contest to that fadeaway three. I recognize this is a lot of clips, but I really want to get home the point again against VJ Edgecombe locking him up. How truly versatile and special Flagg is of all aspects of defense. Here's another 4 or 5-star guy, and Bryson Tucker, who Flagg is able to block. And even though his technique on the ball isn't perfect, that's going to be an area for him to improve and clean up. Like, he likes to show his cards a little bit with his feet. He's a little leaned over and not really on balance. I wish he sat down a little more, but he has the recovery tools at this stage to get away with it. Obviously, at the NBA level, that's going to have to be cleaned up, but on-ball defense technique is something that a lot of young players struggle with. And again, we see Cooper sticking with Boogie Flan, one of the quickest guards in all of high school basketball, and erasing this shot with his length. The shit he can do is truly absurd. There's no other way to put it aside from just watch the damn clips. Look at him screen navigating against the top guard, like getting over screens with this kind of agility. Look at Cooper maneuver his kind of upper body here to like squeeze through that space and stay attached. This to me is going to be a really, really useful thing for him as he gains more kind of on-ball responsibilities and guards the ball more. Great sink down here. He's going to be an excellent weak side zone defender. We've been talking about the closeouts, right? But Cooper also has the quick reaction speed to. This is a really nice read by Gongba, another high-level prospect, but Cooper sniffs it out, gets a hand on that ball, forces a deflection, and ends up forcing a turnover there. There really is no true defensive weakness. Again, we see more low man play where Cooper can guard so much space at once, where he's effectively covering two people at once here. One person on the weak three-point line and one person on the dunker spot. And because of his movement skills, length, instincts, there's very little anyone can do. He's going to end up giving up a bucket here, but I think this is a good show of the dominant athlete that VJ Edgecombe is, who's going to be an awesome prospect in his own right. But we see the agility again to whip through screens, deny, whip through another screen, and ends up kind of getting moving screened off, and they switch. So I'm not exactly putting this on Cooper. I more just wanted to showcase his screen navigation. Again, blowing up this DeBansa dribble handoff, getting another stop against Debansa. We've seen like 4 or 5 plays where he just locked up Debansa. And there are some moments where Cooper's kind of playing the middle heavy gambling nature will lead to him getting beat. Like Cooper, I'm not really sure what the idea is here. Maybe he's trying to play this corner pass like in this 2v1 situation, but when you defend from disadvantage as much as Flagg does, you're going to get beat. And I think there are definitely times where maybe he's over reliant on his tools, or he's a bit lazy with opening up his hips and changing direction. As here's another example of the on-ball defense technique not being great. You kind of see how upright Flagg is. He's not in a stance. He's like, I'm going to walk next to you and bet on my rim protection to alter these shots. And I understand it because it works a lot of the time, but this is something that's definitely going to have to get cleaned up. But we've seen plenty of flashes in this video already of Flagg's ability to defend the ball at a really, really high level. Another kind of situation where Cooper is gambling out of position. Let's rewind this clip here. Cooper is sitting on the nail here, but instead of getting back and just trying to sit down, he goes for the ball here, misses, and then is out of position. Queen has to help over, and I would definitely put that on. If I had to fault that play to any one person, it would probably have been Cooper Flagg on that specific instance. But Flagg's gambling, like, again, at this stage, he can get away with it. And this is one thing where I think bad habits can be built. But I do trust, obviously, Cooper's talent. And, you know, I'm overwhelmingly positive on his defense. But he does ball watch here. Ends up recovering and getting a steal with his crazy length and reaction time. But he is ball watching there. And I think it's fair to kind of point that out. Nice pull up. We'll talk about the offense soon. And I really struggle to think of defensive comparisons for Cooper. People have said like AK-47. I don't really know enough about that, but he had me thinking about Bam Adebayo, honestly, which might be a little blasphemous, but like 6'8", 6'9", without shoes, crazy movement skills. Bam at the high school stage was even more built than Flagg. I think Bam was always more of a big because like he's probably like longer and more standing reach, but same kind of crazy movement skills. Outlier movement skills again there against Lonzo Ball, and obviously the crazy shot blocking instincts and reaction speed where Bam could get up really quickly off of 1 or 2 feet and react and help and be in position to make huge plays at the rim. Special vertical explosion, just like Flagg has. Special reaction time and instincts. Look at Bam immediately turning his head, hopping with 2 feet and blocking a shot. And I think as a help side rim protector, there's some kind of shades of Bam there. And Jason Tatum is also one that I think of as someone who's been consistently one of the best defenders in the league over the last 5, 6, 7 years. And it starts with this same kind of range and instincts where Tatum was able to cover. We saw a similar play to this where Cooper was basically guarding 2 spots at once on the weak side. And just like that, Tatum's able to rotate down for that block. Tatum was probably a bit more like perimeter-y than shot blocky. But the same kind of general dominance with movement skills and length and instincts and IQ were all there. And I do think that's an achievable thing. And I look at Bam's defensive role in the NBA. Obviously, he's playing more center, but I think Cooper can really do some of this same kind of weak side rim protection stuff where he's helping off of a non-shooter here, and he's going to have the instincts and the explosion to go and get shots whenever the hell he wants. And of course, the switching too. Bam locking up Cade Cunningham and blocking a shot here. I think when you teach more on-ball technique, you can get Cooper in a space like this where he's flipping his hips and he's sitting low. And even look, Bam reaches here and gets burned. For most players, reaching and getting burned at the point of attack is a death sentence, but because Bam has the crazy tools to recover, he can get away with stuff like that. And again, I really do think Cooper is going to be like this, and we see the insane versatility that makes Bam special, right? He's guarding the nail as the help one pass away defender and ends up sinking down and getting a steal. It's all really impressive stuff. So defensively, I have no questions about Cooper being special, but offensively, there are more questions. I definitely am higher than most, I think, and I really do believe in the jumper. He's around like 30 to 37% on all threes going back to his last like 2-3 years. So he's already a very good shooter for his size and age, especially considering how much generally lower high school percentages are. But Flagg's shot versatility is what really makes me excited. He's super willing to pull up from three with his really high release, and Flagg is comfortable shooting off of movement as well. And this is a beautiful little crossover into pull up. His mid-range efficiency isn't as great, but again, he will sprint off of movement, pull up from deep. His jumper is pretty smooth. He has the beyond NBA range, and the touch is evident as well from all over the floor. I just kind of wanted to include this clip because it was an awesome shot. Whew, my goodness. Maybe not the smartest shot, but this is an all-star game, and a very competitive all-star game at that. Back foot fadeaway over the contest. Flagg's touch is really good as well, which has me optimistic about the shot. But his athletic tools in driving, I feel like people underrate, or his handle is definitely raw, and he's not the most natural on-ball creator. But I clearly have Tatum on the mind. Flagg's ability to burst into the rim with explosion and rise, like the same kind of tools he uses to dominate on the defensive end, show up here. As when he can dribble a little bit, he's so good at walking into the paint with his handle, and he didn't handle the ball as much for Montverde just because they are a stacked, well-oiled machine. We'll get into some of the AAU clips soon, but Cooper's not like a super dynamic handler, as you can see, but he has touch to get downhill. This is probably my favorite Cooper Flagg play of the season, just shaking that big out of his shoes and dunking. He had a bunch of half-court dunks. He's an unbelievable athlete. And we see the first step is just incredible. I do think it's held back by the handle. That's absolutely true, and he's going to have to improve that. But look at that first explosive step, turning the corner on this defender, and then it's just over from there. There's pretty much nobody in high school who's able and willing to contest Cooper Flagg at the rim. Really nice sit-down cross there, and I like how Flagg's able to use his strength. And Cooper, I think one of the optimistic angles for Cooper is that he still clearly has room to fill his frame out and get a lot stronger. He's still comfortable getting leverage, hop stepping to kind of win with strength here, and easily floating that ball in off of the rim. But Cooper has experience as a legit primary initiator. He was getting 30-point near quadruple doubles all the time in EYBL, which is a really good sign. I think a player having the experience of playing multiple roles. Cooper's played more off-ball and defensive at Montverde, more on-ball with Man United in EYBL, being the high-usage creator. I think Cooper has the ability to play off ball early in his career, but also develop into this kind of creator later, where we can see when the handle holds up. It's definitely not always holding up, but when it does, he looks really, really devastating. I love how he uses these long strides to kind of eat up space here, and all he needs is a tiny advantage to kind of Euro step through the defender here. Finish really strong. Even though he dunks everything, his touch finishes, as we're watching throughout this video, are really excellent. Flagg hanging in the air as we're seeing another easy paint touch here as the hesitation lets him blow by this defender, explodes off of one, hangs in the air, and finishes with his left. That is a high-level NBA type finish from young Cooper Flagg. This is just an overwhelming dominance, and I think it's a good heuristic to go off that Flagg. This is how top prospects are supposed to look in high school. They're supposed to look overwhelmingly dominant. Like, oh, they're playing kids, because they are playing kids, right? And I think that's only a good thing. And this kind of dominance extended even to when Cooper went up against Cam Boozer, the other top prospect in the world. They've had plenty of matchups, and Cooper has fared well in all of them, as has Cam. They're both just absurd prospects. But we see what happens when the handle works. And we'll show some examples of the handle not working. But Cooper hitting Cam with the in and out, and then once he buckles the defender, he has the acceleration and the touch and the craft as a finisher to get all the way downhill and make plays. But the handle, as we said, not great. He definitely will lose it, but I do think this is fairly common for young, especially taller players to struggle as dribblers. Cooper definitely is not the most controlled handler, and it seems like he's not the most balanced either. Like, he'll just fall down inexplicably sometimes. That was a ridiculous little behind the back pass. We're gonna get into his excellent passing in a bit, but yeah, Cooper just isn't a super consistent ball handler, especially against pressure. That's going to be one of the key improvement points for him, becoming more comfortable maintaining the ball under pressure. I think there is some really interesting strength creation potential. I love how he bumps off a really strong player in Patrick Gongba, who's going to Duke as well, his future teammate. Doesn't end up hitting this mid-range, but I think the process getting there. And now I want to get into Cooper's passing, which, if he can really unlock the handle in the scoring, I think is where more of the offensive special comes. Is I don't see a lot of 6'9", 6'10" guys with his defensive ability at this age making these kind of reads off of closeouts. And we're going to get into a lot of the AAU tape where he was basically played point guard a lot of the time and was making these live dribble left-handed bounce passes. Here's a advanced pocket pass with the left hand. Doesn't have to necessarily pick up his dribble to make passes all the time, which is a super valuable skill. And Flagg's vision out of the post was really absurd. I don't know how much of this is going to be in his like NBA offensive toolkit, but look at some of these layered reads Flagg is making, where this is his target right here, and the defender looks like he's in a great position to contest, and that this wouldn't be an open play. Flagg should just kick to the corner instead. But Cooper realizes that this defender isn't going to be in position if he puts the ball right where it needs to be, and that's excellent placement, vision, timing, all of that good stuff. Flagg, again, a very similar play from a different part of the floor. He audibles out of a pull-up on this jump pass where, again, it looks like from this freeze frame, he should probably be kicking to number 5 here, but he finds his brother Ace here, who he knows is going to have position, because he's in front of the defender. Again, really nice vision on the move here. Flagg has very little time to process the floor after catching this. He's got to be aware of where his teammates are when the ball is in the air, and immediately when Flagg kind of gets on the floor and secures that ball, ends up passing to the cutter. He is phenomenal in terms of vision. I do think he's most comfortable picking the ball up. We have shown, and we'll show the live dribble flashes, but Flagg, I think, his handling limitations mean that he's most comfortable surveying, and he's kind of trapped here, but still is able to find a cutter here. He's so good at picking out these little spots in the defense that they kind of leave, or the help defense isn't necessarily ready to contest. Here's another 1v1 against Cam Boozer, where this is a funny play where Cooper just kind of like dribbles in a circle and ends up dropping it down. I don't really know what to make of that play, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. A swing skill for Flagg is definitely going to be the perimeter passing, where can he hold up? Like, this is not good handling. It's very loose and high, and against, better competition, this probably gets ripped. But again, we see Flagg, again, making this exact same read. He's not afraid to test these low man helpers, and I think that aggressive passing is going to be a real benefit for him. Not just playing on the ball, but playing in an off-ball role like this, where Cooper's just kind of catching the ball and passing into a cutter, but this is a perfect placement pass where Flagg is passing into this open space instead of just passing to the target, leading Ace, his brother, into the restricted area here. And I haven't shown much of it, but Flagg is an incredible rebounder with his motor and leaping. But I love this play where he's reading the floor from midair and falling out of bounds, passes it to Queen for that easy, wide open layup. The passing is truly phenomenal. One more last, really, I guess maybe two more, really impressive flash of live dribble bounce passing here. He draws the help, hangs in the air, and yeah, he could pass to McNeely in the corner, but why do that when you could find Queen for a wide open layup right at the front of the rim? Cooper's playmaking is truly absurd for a 6'10 defensive monster like him, and that plus the shooting is really what I'm banking on in projecting Cooper as a true fun where he's not turning it over and losing the ball and can unlock his great strength and movement skills. But this is a really long one, so if you're actually here, why don't you I don't know, leave some kind of comment if you made it all the way in and if you like the video. I'm definitely going to be doing more 2025 prospect breakdowns. Maybe not any as in-depth as this one, because I just love Cooper Flagg, and I really wanted to get my point across as to why I think he's as special as he is.